Well, Senate Democrats in Olympia have come out with their proposals to bring in more money to balance the state budget. They're proposing new taxes on the wealthy while also changing property and sales taxes.
Albert James walks us through the tax changes and their driving forces and how the proposals are being received on the other side of the aisle.
Senate Democratic budget leaders Thursday released long-expected plans to bring in new revenue to close the state's multi-billion-dollar budget gap over the next 4 years.
Voters are really interested both in making sure that wealthy people and businesses pay their fair share of the tax burden in our state, and that they don't want to see vital services cut.
The proposal has 5 parts. First, implementing a tax on people who have over $50 million worth of stocks, bonds, and other certain financial assets. Democrats are also proposing a payroll tax on large employers similar to Seattle's Jumpstart tax. They also want to change the cap on property tax increases. They call the current growth limit of 1% arbitrary and instead propose a combined rate of population growth plus inflation.
This will help ensure that our local communities have the revenue to reflect the actual cost of providing public safety and community protection services for their communities.
The fourth proposal is to eliminate tax exemptions that have been deemed by auditors as ineffective or obsolete. And while it would reduce the amount of revenue brought in by the state, they're also proposing reducing the state sales tax 0.5% to 6%.
As cost of living is rising, Washington's current regressive tax code puts an additional strain on households that are really struggling to meet their basic needs, and this proposal reduces that disproportionate impact.
In all, the Senate Democrats say the proposals are set to bring in $17 billion over the next 4 years for schools, health care, and other state services. Senate Republican budget lead Chris Godon argues the new taxes are unnecessary to sustain state services and lawmakers need to limit spending instead. He took issue with Democrats saying they're targeting the wealthy while also opening the door for property tax increases.
That will directly fall on the backs of working families, middle class, people who are trying to get by, and it will also be a pass-through cost to renters across our state who are already struggling so much.
I reached out to the governor's office if he had any comment on the tax proposals, but didn't hear back Thursday afternoon. Democrats say they've been keeping Ferguson updated on their budget progress as the governor has made it clear he wanted to exhaust spending cuts first before talking new revenue. Now, the spending that all this revenue is going to go toward is still being ironed out. House and Senate Democrats are expected to release their own separate budget proposals on Monday. Senate Republicans released theirs last week. Everyone has to come together to pass one single budget out of the legislature by the time session ends on April 27th. At the state capitol in Olympia, I'm Albert James reporting.